Pax8 Beyond 2025. What an event. Third year they've had it. I've had the great pleasure of being there for all three. This one was the biggest. It was over 3,400 total attendees, 2,400 partner registrations, like over 40 breakouts and over 40 education sessions. It was, the entertainment was fantastic. Snoop Dogg came out and performed. It was a really, really great event. Podcast was there, of course. We had a whole podcasters row. I think there was 10 of us. It was fantastic. It was done very, very well. I was able to, me and my team, we conducted 24 interviews, had 24 great conversations there in Denver. Kathleen Lord, lessons from the saddle, grit, growth, and tech insight. Great conversation with Kathleen. Aaron Pederick, yes, coaching cybersecurity and real life comebacks. Fascinating story Aaron has. Shlomi, of course, I've known Shlomi Jan for a little while now. Really insightful. Really like talking to Shlomi. Kim Simmons, my goodness, what such energy, such life. I hope to be working more with her and her team. They were gracious enough to invite me to a dinner. It was they've got a great product, smarter. The name of the episode is Creativity Meets Contracts. Colin Britton, of course, Formula One to Intune. Great partner there. Colin, great conversation with Intune with his great platform. Marco LaVecchia, data, purpose, and the MSP playbook. Great conversation with Marco. Rex Frank, my old friend. I've known Rex for, 15, 20 years. He's there at Pax8. Really knowledgeable. Learned some things about him I didn't know during our conversation. Oh my goodness, Lorna Berman. What a delight. What an absolute delight to talk to Lorna and her team riding Malibu and running MSP Ops. She's got a horse named Malibu, but great insight, great platform they had there too. Tom Harshbarger. My goodness, I've known Tom since he was at Microsoft about 20 years. Now he's with this great firm, Metallica, misconfigs and mindset. We talk a lot about that. Great conversation with Tom. Lewis, of course, Begdanis from Uvilla. Great conversation. I start off with cooking. I like to cook, and he does too. Meatball Mindset and MSP projects. Darren Swan, great conversation with Darren. I've known Darren for a little while now. Enjoyed talking to him. Opened the conversation with Vinyl, Espresso, and Cyber Trust. Pinar, yes, I love speaking with Pinar. Pickleball, Possums and Proactive Security. Great conversation with Pinar, CEO of that great firm. Tanya, of course, got to know Tanya. We had a great conversation on the phone before we met there and had the conversation in Denver. Tanya Alfonso from Kitchen to Cybersecurity. Damo, I love talking to Damo, of course, from Super Ops. Barbells and AI for MSPs. Great conversation with Demo. Charlie Tomio. I've known Charlie for 15, 20 years now. Great talking. We talk about, phishing and MSP automation, the great Roost platform. Ryan Ettridge, Black Belts and CyberCert. Great conversation with Ryan. Fascinating insight. The martial arts plays on people's lives. Joe Saunders, cigars, securities, and self-reflection. Great conversation with Joe. Rob Ray, been in the community for, I've known him since he was even before Dado, fellow Connecticut resident. Great talking to Rob. He's doing great things there as vice president there at Pax8. Drew Schlessel, of course, great talking about their Wasabi platform. We actually became a partner as well. The platform is so good. Chance Weaver, AI adoption. He's there at Pax8 talking about his great story and how he got there, but he's working on AI adoption at Pax8. Christopher Marquez. I've had the good pleasure of knowing Christopher for a little while now. We talk about Chile, coaching and cyber threats. Really great insight from Christopher. Chris Day, been in the, my goodness, I've known him since, from IT Glue all the way where he is now at ScalePad, been in the system for a long, been in the channel, the community for a long time. Gene Kim, surfboard, security, and staying operational. Enjoyed talking to Gene. I had the chance to meet him at Secure, ConnectWise Secure. And lastly, Ken Tripp, Microsoft Copilot and compliance. Great conversations there at Pax8 Beyond 2025. Incredible event. Can't wait to see what they come up with next. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Describe your relationship with martial arts, with jiu-jitsu.
Oh, where do I start? So, are we on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go closer. Yeah.
So I started mixed martial arts when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. One of my dad's influences. He was never a martial artist at all, but he seemed to think that it was a good idea to get into it. I actually never really enjoyed it.
Really?
I was the fat kid, 7 years old.
Huh.
And so it wasn't quite a natural movement, martial arts, for a chubby kid. I wasn't obese, but I always, and so anyway, you've got to be flexible, you've got to be strong, you've got to be all this. So it kind of took me 5 or 6 years to get into the rhythm.
Wow.
And then I really had to try. I felt like I had to earn all the different belts. But anyway, I got a junior black belt at 13 years old.
Wow. I didn't know there were junior black belts.
Yeah, well, under 18 was kind of the thing. And so even still, I felt like I didn't deserve it, imposted it.
Huh.
Until I got to about 15 or 16 and then hit this fitness stage and got fit, flexible. I was actually a good martial artist. And so then I also trained Filipino stick fighting.
Whoa.
Weaponry all through the same time.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's so cool. And then so I graduated a black belt in that as well at 17 years old, something like that. So I've got 2 black belts by 18 years old.
My God. In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection, powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza-Dash MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza Dash platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow.
And I was quite confident with that. It was good. Instructor, teaching others, teaching kids.
Wow.
I did that till I was 23 years old, and then I stopped. I hit the university stages and career, partying. That was the 20s. And then got lots into gym and running and all that stuff. And then only 3 or 4 years ago, so I'm 41 this year, 3 or 4 years ago, I'm like, I miss that progressiveness,
Yes.
And jiu-jitsu kind of was this balance between technical, strategic, fitness, flexibility. It's a game. Like, you can be quite light and still roll and and play around with really heavy guys and girls, you can. And you can really have a kick-ass strategy in jiu-jitsu. And the belt system is this international federation. So it's just like has all this, it's just this amazing art that you can play with, or you can be really like UFC type confident. If you want to take it to the competition level, you can do that. So I have earned a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And in the same way, you always still feel like you're at the beginning of the next belt, and could purple belts and brown belts kick my ass easy.
Wow.
Right? But when you look back at the journey of the blue and the white belt and someone who doesn't train, man, a purple belt is insane, is amazing. Like, they can really fight. But compared to some of the other belts, it's still like a way away from black belt in jiu-jitsu. I love it. Yeah, 2 or 3 times a week. So that's my relationship with martial arts.
Is it more art than science?
Well, jiu-jitsu, I would say it's a good balance. You really have to have this. There's a guy called, I'm going to mess up his name, but it's like Dan someone. Right, I'll think of it. It'll come to me.
Not the Gracies, obviously.
Not the Gracies, no. So it's like Dan Barahana or someone like that. It'll come to me. Anyway, he's like, he did his PhD in it. Like, he's just gone, no, this is the thing. You've got to have this thing in place and this thing in place. And if you can understand the 3 basic things, then you can be a kick-ass jiu-jitsuka, right?
Right.
But there are many others that are very much physical, artistic. It's just, can they explain how they do it so well? Probably not. It's just not the way their mind works. But my God, they can fight. So I think it's a good balance as jiu-jitsu.
I think it was Joe Rogan who said jiu-jitsu is problem solving with dire consequences.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah, I probably hacked that, but yeah.
Yeah, he says something like, someone asked him on one of his podcasts, why would anyone want to do jiu-jitsu?
Right.
What's the point of being a black belt? He said, man, if you and I are the same size, exactly the same build, and I'm a black belt and you're not, and shit hits the fan, I will kick your ass.
Right,
I will absolutely destroy you. That's the difference. And you want to have that at least potential or possibility to go, you're confident. You're there. You can do this stuff.
In your pocket, yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing it for a while, and I loved it. This was only about a year and a half ago, and I was rolling, and I cracked a rib.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then I couldn't play golf, and it got me so upset that I didn't go back.
Yes. So, all right, hear this. So 2 years into my journey, I think I just earned the blue belt. Yeah, and I was keen as I was like, the white belt progression was 18 months, 2 years, and I'm going 5 days a week.
Wow.
It's 'cause I'm just in this rhythm, right? It's a fitness, it's a wave, yeah? And I'm rolling with another white belt who's also in this competition sort of mindset. I want to win. And gets me in a guillotine, which is a neck lock, right, and drops me.
Ooh.
And one of the escapes from that is to like hold it so that you're not getting choked, and then move around to the other side of the opponent's body so that it's just not possible to get guillotined from that, right? But there's a bit of pressure there if you're not doing the technique right. And so the pressure is pushing back.
Oh, no.
Right? So the spine.
Oh, no.
The cervical part of the neck, pushing back. And I'm like, man, that didn't feel good. And then I had a one-to-one with the professor the next day. I was doing privates as well. And I just did this little shoulder roll, and the top of the head hit the ground. And I went, oh, man, my arm went numb. And so it was actually the two lower fingers and the tricep, it all went numb because one of the discs was pushing on the nerve. And I'm like, oh, man. And then that night I couldn't sleep, and the pain was excruciating. Like, oh, this is not good. So went to see the doctor, the spinal specialist, the chiropractor, 5 different specialists. And they're like, dude, you can't train anymore.
Wow.
Like, it was, I'm on severe pain medication because it was on the nerve. I didn't train for 12 months.
Whoa.
I got to the point where I surrendered to the, like, it wasn't any emotional. It was just like, okay,
right,
this is done. And they're like, dude, if you hit that again, the next thing is paralysis.
Oh.
So I've just surrendered to this. Okay, jiu-jitsu's done. That's okay. We go back to the light training and whatever else. And so I donated the uniforms back to the club.
Did you really?
I'd given up. I was like, okay, it's okay. I got blue belt. It's fine. And then 12 months later, I stayed in touch with the professor. He's this amazing guy, community oriented. And he's like, dude, you can just come back and we can do some what's called gymnastica, which is this animal movement. It's like training the body for that. It's low impact. There's no rolling. And so he eased my way back into it.
Wow.
And one of the things the chiropractor said to me, she said the nerves can regenerate. So all of this rubbish that once your neck is done, it's done. It doesn't mean that the disc has kind of resolved itself, but the nerve can regenerate. So 12 months after that neck injury, like you wouldn't know I had an injury.
Wow.
So I've then kind of eased the way back in with the yoga and the gymnastica, and he's like, let's do some one-to-ones and private. So I'm back there for 2 years or 18 months since the injury. But his point was, people get injured. It does actually happen, but it doesn't mean it's the end.
Right.
Yeah. So the cracked ribs, it's just, it can be, if you see this as a long-term game, as a lifetime sport, you just have to learn how to navigate the challenges and see your way through.
And having a great instructor, a professor like that makes all the difference.
Huge.
Yeah.
He's not out there to kill anyone. He's not out there to win all the comps, even though he can teach you and coach you through that. But it was exactly right. The community space is what first attracted me there, but also brings you back in, keeps you in the community. Yeah, amazing.
I noticed all my friends and those that I know that participate in martial arts just kind of have a different level of just kind of being.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I find like in the early stages of really anything, it's a bit wobbly.
Right.
You're trying to prove yourself. It's like, can I do this? And once you've done that a few times, that's just the stage of the learning curve. But once like anything, I don't think it's just martial arts. I think it's when you get to a level of mastery, and you know this in your profession, you're at ease.
Yeah.
There's nothing to prove anymore.
Yeah.
Right? You're fearless, you're authentic. It's
interesting.
It's just, and martial art, because it's so structured.
Yes.
Absolutely. When you get to your brown and your black belts, it's like you got nothing to prove anymore.
Right.
You're just confident.
But it does a good job of keeping confident and not arrogance and not allowing complacency to come in. It does a really good job of regulating that.
Yeah, that's true. The discipline, the value system is, you bow when you get onto the mat.
That's right. Regardless.
You're true.
Regardless of where your belt. Yeah.
You're true. You can be master at something and still have
get
dirty
complacent.
feet.
Yeah. A little hubris maybe.
Yeah, you're right. It's like there's definitely a humility in martial arts because you can get your ass
kicked. It keeps
kicked
you humble at any second. At any second, yeah.
True.
So we're here at the Pax8 Beyond 2025 in Denver. What are some of your goals this week, Ryan?
Yeah, so CyberCert is I'm the co-founder and CEO of CyberCert. We have been in operation for a couple of years, but really the last 6 to 12 months in the Australia, New Zealand region.
Hey, Joey Pinz here. Want to take your podcast experience to the next level? I'm excited to invite you to become a YouTube member. It's the absolute best way to support the channel and enhance your connection. Join our amazing community and unlock the incredible perks, custom loyalty badges, exclusive emojis, and priority comment replies. Your voice will always stand out. Be the first to watch new videos with early access, receive special membership shoutouts, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and updates. Dive into content available only to our members, special videos, deep dives, and insider perspectives. Engage directly with me. Suggest podcast topics you want to hear, and even get personalized video shoutouts. Hit the join button right now and become part of something special. Let's build this amazing community together. I can't wait to welcome you as a new member. Join the Joey Pinz family today.
We have kind of hit the tipping point of adoption. So there's thousands of SMBs certifying using the CyberCert and SMB 1001 standard, which is specifically designed for SMBs. I'll do a little bit of an intro, right?
Please.
So ISO 27001, for example, is designed for enterprises. It's the cybersecurity standard that you can certify against for enterprises. When you try and use that for SMBs, it breaks the SMB because they don't have the resources of an enterprise. So SMB 1001 was created to fill the gaps for the SMBs that need certification. CyberCert is the certification issuer, against that standard, the international recognized standard, and now internationally recognized certification.
Interesting.
Cyber insurers recognize the certification. So once you've got your certification, no more technical questions asked. The world's leading cyber insurers recognize that, and they can issue you a policy offer based on that. So here at Beyond, we're launching this globally. So we've now made CyberCert available to anyone in the world. That's why we're here.
So how do you help MSPs?
Right. It's a great question. SMB 1001 as the standard. Requirement number one, so there's 5 tiers in the standard to meet the flower shop owner where they're at, all the way through to the $100 million year tech company that might only have 10 or 20 people. So it's designed in 5 tiers to meet the different SMBs where they're at in each of their industries and their risk profiles and so on. Yeah. Requirement number one, even at tier 1, which is bronze certification, is you must have a partner. Because the SMB, and this is an exaggeration, they can't spell cyber. It's not their job. They're there to sell kick-ass flowers and Bob's Burgers and whatever the thing is. Yeah. It's like if I was to, someone gives me the instructions to a washing machine to fix it. It's like, dude, I don't know how to fix my washing machine. I'm going to call the washing machine dude. Yeah. So SMB 1001 requirement 1 is you must have a specialist that can help you understand the standard. It is 100% partner powered by design.
Wow.
MSPs are control number 1 in the standard. You cannot get certified if you don't have a specialist.
Wow.
It is designed as a cyber assurance program for the MSPs to lead on an annual recurring basis.
Very cool. How long have you been working with MSPs?
Well, MSP, so I was with Dimension Data, which is now NTT. I was with them for 6 or 7 years. So
they're an MSP? I'm not familiar.
They're a very large systems integrator, MSP, MSSP. So they're not the small end, but that's the MSP style.
I see.
It was there. I was a PwC partner for 7 years. Not an MSP, but a service provider, consulting firm, and so on.
Sure.
So I've been in the MSP world for like 15 plus years. Before that, I was in industry. So I was 5 or 6 years in industry. But with CyberCert, so I joined the CyberCert team, co-founder, CEO 6 months ago. And so I've been activating the Australia-New Zealand MSP network for that period of time.
Wow.
And it is 100% community oriented. There was... You know, to the extent which is so humbling. These guys run their own events on Saturday mornings to talk about the standard and how they can activate their own thing. This is community powered. Wow. So many years, but in this capacity, just over 6 months.
What do you like working with MSPs? What's the best thing about working with MSPs?
Well, the passion, because most of them are of the SMB nature. Right. Especially in this community, especially the Pax8 Beyond community. The size and scale of the SMB MSP is the skin in the game. They're not working for someone else; they're working for themselves, and they get that they're part of a community, so they have to work with each other, and they know that if they try and isolate themselves, they'll get smashed by everybody else. It's almost by design that these guys have to work together, and that is the only way CyberCert is successful.
So when an MSP is looking for these kind of certification and compliance, what questions should they be asking a vendor?
Well, so let me explain the ecosystem a little, right? So if CyberCert is the certification mechanism that SMB 1001's the list of things you must do before you're able to get certified.
I see.
Requirement number 1 is the partner. The partner has to bundle and create their service offering around that standard using technologies and consulting services and whatever else, right? So this ecosystem approach is the technology vendors, the Kaseyas, Acronis, Microsoft, Cisco. These are the guys that build the tech for the SMB. But then someone has to craft it or architect it or create their bundles and service offerings and master services agreements and all of that around that. And then they have to take that to the SMB. So the questions that they're asking really depends on, is it a question of what the value is to the SMB? Is it a question of how they're going to be unique in terms of their value proposition as to what they take to their SMB? But certainly, what does the SMB need? What's the driver for certification? is some of the questions that they ought to be asking at the moment. MSPs without this sort of standard have this subjective idea of what they ought to build and offer to their SMBs. And so it's like, well, you just need to buy this kick-ass firewall for 20 grand. It's like, okay, if you say so, but there's no standard alignment to it. There's no consistency. And so then when they go to take, or they go to apply for a cyber insurance, it's like, yeah, but what about your endpoint? What about your backups? What about your, know? And so the standard tries to simplify that insurance process. It simplifies the supply chain compliance process. It's not designed to replace HIPAA and CMMC and the others.
I see.
It's designed to fill the gaps that all of those don't address. And there are 80-90% of the SMBs that are not applicable to those standards. So the question, why is cyber important? All of that. Do you need insurance policy? What's the level you need? That's all built into the actual platform. The questions that they ask are actually already facilitated. Yeah.
That's quite a value proposition. I know you've got really busy there at the booth. It's been a great show for you.
Yeah.
So I started the MSP back in the 90s, Ryan, and I was working way too hard. And I'm in front of the doctor, not paying attention to myself. You said you were a chubby kid.
Yeah.
I was always an athlete, but this is my 20s.
Yeah.
And she tells me that I'm at 340 pounds. I'm way, way overweight. And she says, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate.
Yeah, right.
Her daughter's just born.
Yeah.
Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So I spent the next 6-7 months, lost about 120 pounds, kept it off. You can't look at it as a finishing line, right? This is like lifelong changes. So when I tell this story, people ask me, what's your secret? No secret, Ryan. Discipline. That's how I kept it off. Focus, willpower. How does discipline play a role in your life?
Personally? So I went through a burnout phase as a PwC partner.
Did you really?
Yeah, so I was there for 5 years. So we started at 3 people when I joined that team, and my objective was to build the cybersecurity team in my region. Got to 45 people.
Wow.
It was the largest in the region. It's crazy. Just crazy. All the dashboard, the business dashboard lights were green, but my relationship was challenged.
Wow.
Nothing to talk about with the wife. Had 3 daughters, all under the age of 5 at the time.
Wow.
And I've got this vision of, if I continue down this path, I'm going to jump off a cliff.
Wow.
Like, this is fucked.
Wow.
So I had to ask for help. And at this point, I was broken. And I'm like, you could have told me to go see a doctor or take medicine. Or at this point, I was like, you just need to tell me what to do.
Wow.
I was introduced to an executive coach. And that whole process turned my life upside down, which was the realization, I didn't know that I was the fat kid trying to prove himself all the time. This fear of failure, this fear of rejection. What I learned through that process, so I went and studied executive coaching and brought that back into the cyber team. I started a leadership academy.
Wow.
After PwC, that's going through its own AI executive coaching app at the moment, about to release that in a couple of weeks as well. Because I said, how come I didn't know this 20 years ago? How come no one could tell me that I was fear-driven? The one thing that I found that was this common point in all of the coaching frameworks is that every bit of stuckness is always underpinned by fear.
Wow.
There is always a core fear. And now the secret to that is that I learned, and this is what I profess, is that when you can make friends with that fear, that's the definition of fearlessness. Not that you don't have fear, it's that you don't fear the fear.
Interesting. Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypinz.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it.
So does that help discipline? For sure.
Wow.
100%. Now, so what I can do now, I can step back into leading CyberCert, this global SMB cybersecurity movement, without fear. Not that I don't have nerves as you go on stage, and not that you don't have any of that sort of stuff, but it's like I'm not afraid. I've got nothing to prove.
Right.
This is 100% vision aligned. And does that take discipline and structure? Of course it does.
Yeah, it sure does.
There's skills. And again, back to the martial arts. There's skills that we learn in that process, and it is execution now that we can drive that discipline in there. So, if we've all got a vision, if we've all got a potential, then of course the execution is part of that discipline and learning how to fail and navigate and so on. Yeah.
That's real refreshing. Learn to kind of accept and don't fear the fear.
Yeah. That's my definition of fearlessness. It's not that it's not there, but it's make friends with it. Everyone has them. This is I've taken 1,000 leaders through the process, and everyone has that same.
Right.
There is a story that they have, right? It's their own fat kid, whatever their fat kid is. Yeah. And it's like, dude, A, you're not the fat kid anymore.
Right.
But B, look how that's benefited you. That's motivated you to get to this point, right? So can you see all the benefits, all the upsides of being that fat kid? So now you can bring him through. Love him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your message to MSPs this week is what, Ryan?
Well, there's definitely a community thing here, so we've all got to get behind this. So SMB Cybersecurity Certification Revolution, 100% community powered. The message for the SMB is to work together on this and to drive this standardization into SMBs, because when we help the SMB, everybody else wins.
Yeah, everybody else wins.
The supply chain wins, the MSP wins, the economy wins, the insurers win, everybody wins.
Yeah.
And so if we can at least drive a level of consistency and discipline in that field, then we've got something to prove, and that's the certification. So let's help each other do that.
Ryan, thanks so much for your time today. Anybody watching, listening, and they want to get in touch with you, how they do so?
Yeah, they can head to cybercert.ai. Yeah,
CyberCert, CYEBR, CyberCert, CERT.
That's it, cybercert.ai. They can reach out there. There's forms there, or hit me up on LinkedIn, Ryan Ettridge on LinkedIn.
Very good, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joey.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.